up, everybody? It's your favorite cyborg Sith's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Darth Maul from Hot Toys from the movie Solo with the robot legs, where he lets you know that he really does know the Force and he really is that horned character that you remember by turning on his lightsaber for kind of no reason at the end of the movie. Yeah, him. We're looking at him. I have mixed feelings about him personally, kind of right out of the box, but he does look good, and it was a positive first impression in regards to kind of aesthetics and build and such. So let's take a look, but in order to do so, we got to start with accessories. So he comes with a nice display base. It's decoed very nicely with the kind of different shades of green. It looks really nice, like almost marbly, very sharp. And then, of course, Star Wars Darth Maul down here at the front. And it's a huge display base, not unlike the one that he came with for the episode 1. And then you get my least favorite kind of, keep him standing tool, which is this one. You take off this cap and then you can slide this on, but in order to kind of slide it on, you need to have loosened this screw and then tighten it appropriately. And it's just like, look, there's a lot of people that make a lot of stands. A lot of them do it far better than this. A stand shouldn't take the fun out of something. It shouldn't be that type of party. But then that can screw in there, and then you can have him standing, and then you put your cap back on the top. Now, display base options, you're not quite done yet, because he comes with his chair, which is really cool. It's really well done. Nice weathering. It's subtle. It's not overdone throughout. All the little kind of screws and ports and things to plug in, and this can do that, and all those kind of Star Warsy things. Little felt pieces on the bottom so you don't scratch it up. And then this piece here, which actually does feel like it could be like your grandma's uncomfortable furniture that you never wanted to sit on when you were at her house for maybe Thanksgiving, for instance. So, yeah, this is very cool. He comes with a few hand options. You get kind of force push hands left and right. You get sitting on the knee or gesturing hands left and right, and then 2 holding hands left and right. So that's nice. And that's in addition to the 2 relaxed hands that you saw in the opening footage. You get his lightsaber, which looks good. We have the kind of really nice chromish silver finish. We have red and silver detailings. We have dry brushing on the hilt here, like on the top of it, so to speak. And yeah, looks really good. And he'll hold that just fine. You also get blade options. So you get 2 of the swinging options that are red translucent and go from like a more opaque to a less opaque. So it looks like he's swinging it. I don't really know how I feel about that. If you like it, you win. And then you get 2 kind of standard blades with a red translucent. It goes from, once again, kind of a less opaque to a more opaque towards the top. You know what I want to see? White rod through the middle with red translucent around it, but this is what you get. Both options work the same way by just simply plugging them into both sides of your lightsaber. You also get the electronic option, the bit. So this glove splits here in the center, and then you can open this up, and they give you 3 batteries for it as well. And then you can unpeg from the bicep and peg in. I'm not going to do this. I don't think I'm ever going to do this again. I have a tendency to break these because I forget that they're hardwired, and then I try to do some crazy pose and end up snapping a wire. So I am going to save myself the trouble, but you can do it if you so please. And then you get the 2, holographic images. You get one for her, which seems weird, and then one for him. I don't get this exactly. I mean, I'll take it, no problem, but I just don't understand why they would include this. But whatever. There it is. It's sculpted nice enough. It has those like rivets that go down it that make it look like it's like, wavy, so to speak, if you know what I mean. And then the same for her. A nice sculpt for her as well. We didn't get a Hot Toys of her, so it's like, I don't know. Some strange choices here, but I'll never turn down more accessories. I just don't know if these are the best. But I guess, the scene is only, what, like 2 minutes long, if that? So it's like, I guess they threw everything they could at it. And then you get, his bling, which is pretty cool, Really well done. Real chain here, comes down to this bit, and then the gold finish on it. Looks good. Platinum chains hang down to my, the part. But, yeah, looks good. To install it, simply just take the head off, drop the jewels over top, add it on, good to go. And then lastly, you get this tool, which will help you articulate the eyes if you so choose. I like the ones where you can do them both at the same time. The one to do one, like I always tend to screw it up, and then one's looking at a groundhog and one's looking at a squirrel, if you know what I mean. And I leave it alone. I am going to adjust his briefly. I'm going to try to make him look slightly up. But you see, there's the sockets in there, the white bit, and then you just grab your tool in there, and I'm just gonna see, it's too far. I just want it to be up just slightly so you see the white at the bottom of his eyes, which is what I'm looking for. So, likeness-wise, I don't know, man. I think he's a bit too young. He doesn't look weathered enough. He doesn't look scarred enough. Like, they did match some of the scars, but, like, in Solo, he looked like he had been through hell. And this guy kind of looks like he's been through heck, or he's been through Hades, but not through hell. So, like, sculpt-wise, it feels right, but, like, the texture of his face and how weathered and worn he looks doesn't look accurate to me. You know, it doesn't stop me from enjoying the figure, you know, from a shelf eyes, but like judging it and comparing it to what it's supposed to look like, I'm not sure if it's there. Now, costume-wise, I think they did nail it. Like, all of the tabards and layers and shapes and textures and materials of the different blacks throughout the different fabrics and layers, like, that really works. Add that on top of the legs, the robot legs, and the necklace and all of that. Like, all of that seems really beautifully done. I'm not sure I'd change much of anything. Maybe make these a bit longer, but, I mean, I'm nitpicking. Okay, so let's start with plastics and such. So we have the head, right? And we have the chest. The tattoos on the chest look good. I'm not sure how far in they go. Let's see if we can't see. It looks like they go pretty far. They didn't try to cheat the system. I like stuff like that. Makes me feel a little bit better about spending the amount of money when I feel like they went the distance. The paint on the face looks amazing. No issues whatsoever. On the horns, the different layers of washes and everything, like it really comes through. And the sculpt work of the scars and stuff look good. You know, it just doesn't look weathered enough. But yeah, really sharp stuff. I dig it an awful lot. The teeth, the expression, everything looks great. I think I gotta move that this eye a little bit that way. That's why I don't touch them. That's why you shouldn't touch them. All right, so then we had the gloves that are plastic. Nice, that faux leather texture. They got that down pat. They know exactly what they're doing there. Same for the gloves themselves with the seams sculpted in and the wrinkles. All of that looks perfect. So let's get to the real sculpted detail part of this, which is the chicken legs. Yeah, it's really good. We have the different shades of metals and golds, and then the weathering across them, the plastic tubes here throughout, the wiring, all of that. Like, it all really, really works well. The weathering at the bottom of the feet, not too much, you know, kind of still subtle, but definitely like he's walked across a few floors, you know. And yeah, I think that really is a highlight to it. The legs and the face, you know, and the face is a big part of Hot Toys, so big deal. And moving on to soft goods, we have a number of different things going on. So we have this kind of like sheen worn, like almost looks kind of religious outer tabards, and that goes up through there as well. They all are posable. Then these underneath, they're all posable, and they're of the same material of these front ones. And then we have another layer underneath there that are more of a cloth, like a standard Jedi or Sith cloth that they usually use. and then is that posable too? Yep. And then underneath that is his pants, and it's a very loose fabric, so it shouldn't impinge articulation that much. We'll get to that here in a second. But that, all the seams and stuff, all the stitching, everything looks nice. Then you have the belt pieces, once again with the faux leather, and the wraps all look good, and the same material goes up through the chest. And then you have the arms, which are a bit different. We have a tougher material on the sleeves, and then a different material than anything down the kind of side of the arm. So all of that really looks nice. We have the one cape in the back, and then this kind of repeats. It really looks good. And then we have the hood. And I haven't messed with it too much, but I'll see if I can't get one pose in the final thoughts to kind of make it work. Right now, it's giving me a little bit of grief. So the jury's out on that one. But yeah, overall, well done. And lastly, articulation. So the head is on a magnetized ball peg, basically, for lack of a better term. You get really good up, nothing really down, a swivel that kind of rocks his head more than gives you a proper swivel, but you can adjust it, you know? So no issues there, and a confused Maul look, which is a little weird. I'm guessing it's a double ball peg chest into abdomen, single abdomen into pelvis, but it could just be one double ball peg running from the pelvis up into the chest. Either way, it works a bit better than Qui-Gon's. You can get him over a bit further. The teapot's a little limiting, but that's okay. You can get him forward a bit more and back a bit more. So it's all in all, it's more effective and efficient than Qui-Gon's. I'm only comparing him to Qui-Gon because that's another one we just looked at, you know. So then we have a disc hinge shoulder. That gets you out to there. It goes into a ball peg in the chest. That gets you a pretty good bit forward and even a little decent bit back. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Double hinged elbow, great range there, and a bicep swivel. Now, the wrist pegs. They've done this before where they put this like sleeve over the wrist peg. And as a result, it's just like, it's obnoxious because it's harder to get the hand on and then stuck on. So that's a criticism of mine. I didn't talk about these, I don't think, but they're nice little silver bits. All right, same for the other side, arm-wise. We have, I think, universals for hips. I can't really tell. Either way, pretty great range of motion out to the side. Little limited forward and back, but not terrible. Thigh swivel is there. Double jointed knee, soft ratcheted. And then the ankles are on ball pegs. So you get ankle tilt down, you get ankle tilt up a taste, you get a pretty good rocker, and you get a toe hinge. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very well articulated figure, to be honest, especially for Hot Toys. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negatives. They are as follows. My biggest gripe with this figure is that leather sleeve over top of the pegs for the hands that are swappable and how cumbersome, clumsy, and obnoxious it makes switching out the hands. I can't stand it. It drives me bonkers. My second gripe is the face doesn't look weathered enough. He looks too young. That's a bit of a nitpick, but a criticism nonetheless. And my third issue is he does have a bit of a hard time balancing himself when in dynamic poses because the lack of heel on his shoes, for his robot shoes. Like if he had a little heel spur there, it would just make all the difference. And it may not be movie accurate, but it would allow you to do some pretty cool poses. So that's a more subjective thing. There are people that are really crazy about the accuracy, whereas I kind of like, I want the accuracy, but if it's like a little thing that you can change here and there that makes the figure more enjoyable, like give me that. And that's really my main issues here. I should say that trying to get the hood to work is giving me a little bit of grief also, so we'll add that to a potential negative as well. Perhaps if I had more time, I could get it to work, but it's giving me a little bit of a problem. So positives-wise, really well articulated. All of the accessories make sense. Even though the face doesn't seem as old and weathered and worn, it still definitely feels like Maul from this movie. It still comes through. The character still comes through. The paint on the face is fantastic. The paint on the chest is fantastic. The difference in fabrics and how they work in relation to how the figure articulates, on top of the fact that the legs are beautifully sculpted, painted, all the wires and such with accessories that make sense. I gotta recommend it. I gotta recommend it. It's a pretty solid figure if you love Darth Maul or you like this representation of him, maybe from Rebels or, you know, a little Clone Wars in there and Solo, it's of course. Then I think it'll make sense for you. It's not a must-have. I think if you had the episode 1 and you're kind of on the fence, being on the fence is probably enough to pass on this guy. But if you're like, man, I'm a Maul fanatic, I just want it to be good, it's good. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.